Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching this Ag Forecast for South America brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I'm just going to show you a figure I think a lot of you probably saw today on Monday. It's the IMEA planting progress for soybeans in Mato Grosso. And just to point out, we're about 30% above where we were a year ago. So this is where we currently stand, about 83.15%. And last year at 53%. So it was just now that we're starting to pick up with that soybean planting after some pretty significant delays. Remember, this is only for Mato Grosso. Now from there, I would like to show you a couple of the tools we've been looking at over the last few weeks and just to get some updates here. The first is the standard precipitation index from the CHIRPS data set. What we're looking at here is the month droughts, the one month long drought severity index. So there are a few places, for example, right over here in Mato Grosso, getting into Mato Grosso do Sul and parts of southern Rio Grande do Sul that we still are on the drier side of things. What we're going to see over the next week or so is that some regions here, especially kind of inside of the area I just highlighted, or right in through here, really going to be picking up a lot of precipitation. I'd also like to show you the latest data we've got from the satellite GRACE. We're looking at root zone soil moisture. And interestingly enough, when you get here just on the kind of the rain shadow side of the Andes Mountains in Argentina, we've been quite dry. But much of the rest of Brazil is not looking at major deviations compared to average. Now, just for perspective, remember, we do have an archive with this, and just to show you the root zone soil moisture values here, November 30th last year, so at the end of this month, that is where we really saw substantial drought taking hold of much of Brazil's growing areas. So just to put some contrast on last year versus this year. Where are we going? Well, I think a lot of that's going to be determined by a couple of things, the biggest of which is going to, I think, be La Nina, secondarily the MJO. This La Nina continues to strengthen, and we've got a lot of cold water, not only here in the Central Pacific and what we call Niño Region 3.4, but also still cold water over here in what we call Niño Region 1 and 1+2. And if we just take a look at what these ocean temperatures have been doing, we can see that over there next to the coast, the west coast of South America, we've built up to almost a 1 degree Celsius below normal value. That would consider this a moderate strength La Nina. And then coming back right into here, Niño Region 3.4, that's also continuing to drop. And we expect it to do that into the foreseeable future. Now, in combination with the La Nina doing this and the fact that the MJO seems to be kind of stuck north of Australia, this is not the pattern that's really robbing Brazil, much of Brazil, from a lot of rainfall. You combine that with the fact that the Antarctic Oscillation, which we talked about last week, through September was positive, through much of October rebuilt, and is now sitting here above average, means that we have got a precipitation pattern that may favor drier conditions in parts of Argentina and southern Brazil, but not necessarily going to shut everything down. And that MJO discussion starts here. You just see that as we get out there in the near term, we're going to watch by about November 7th through the 15th, kind of an extension of the rising motion move over parts of South America. Now, if I slide down here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Getting out here, days 6 through 10, better rising motion over much of Brazil. Going even farther than that, day 11 through 15, better rising motion over much of Brazil. That's what we're seeing in terms of the way that the tropics breathe. And just to put a final cap on that La Nina, still got very strong trade winds here. See that? And what's happening is they're meeting some westerly components of the wind here in the tropics, and the best rising motion is happening right there. And so what ends up happening is you get a bunch of rising motion here, and it reflects in the atmosphere over there as well, with the subsidence in these areas, okay, where I put the X's. So I think that's key to unlocking this precipitation pattern that we're going to see moving forward. So what does it look like? Well, let me shrink that up so you can see it. If there's a place that's going to favor drier conditions, it's much of southern Brazil. So Mato Grosso do Sul over towards Sao Paulo. This is Paraná, Santa Catarina, and Rio Grande do Sul. I see better rains pushing up against this part of kind of the highlands here in the northern part of Argentina. But the latest trend went a little drier down near Cordoba over toward Buenos Aires. Just a little bit drier than average. So thinking about this, let's go out and take a look at why we're seeing some drier conditions in here, because it may look dry, but rain will be moving in there, and I want to show you when it's coming in. Because north and east of there, very, very wet compared to average. 2 to 4 inches of surplus rainfall in the next 10 days. So to do that, let's go here and take a look at my figures from the European model, the 12Z run. Now, what we're going to see as we go through the day on Tuesday and then getting in toward Wednesday, there's a weak frontal boundary that's right in through here, bringing in some light precipitation overall by Wednesday. But it's not necessarily connected to a deeper low. The deepest low I can find at the near term is right here by the time we get into Wednesday. And it will bring scattered precipitation, some of it heavy, right into this part of Minas Gerais, getting over to Goiás and Tocantins. See that? Now, as we play forward, let's now get into the day on Thursday and working our way into Friday. Now, there's a weak low way off the coast, and its front is right in through here. So that's what's helping our rainfall into this part of Argentina. But as we go from Friday into the day on Saturday, it just brings scattered showers into this area. No really widespread precipitation. You do see the heavier rains to the north here, right? This is on Saturday. From Saturday into Sunday, that's where our focus is going to be. We're going to watch that lingering front bring heavy rain there through Sunday and into Monday, which is where we are now, and then into the next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. See that? So I put all that together and I end up getting this forecast. Playing through the end of this week, so here's Wednesday, getting into Thursday. There's a big area that's missing out a lot of this precip. Scattered showers and storms in through here, but we're going to miss out on all of it in the middle period, big donut. Heavier rains all around the periphery with that deeper low forming off the coast here. So this gets us out again to Thursday, and then as we move into Friday, we get a round of showers and storms that tries to fill that in. Do you see it there? So some places may pick up 20 to 40 millimeters of rainfall, but it's going to be scattered in nature. So as we work our way through Sunday and into early next week, what you see is we continue to add the heaviest rain into that corridor, which if I take you back to the beginning, that's an area that has lately seen quite a bit of heavy precipitation. So the models continue to show that as we get out there about to a day 8 or 9 forecast. And now fully into week 2, we expect that same area to stay wet, and there's going to be a drier bias farther to the south. That's consistent with what we've been seeing from the long-range models for a few weeks now, and it continues to be our concern with the developing La Nina. That's going to be the story I think we're going to follow for a while. Because while this gets us out to middle of November, if we go from the middle of November through the middle of December, which is what we've got here, this is the 10th of November to the 10th of December, it's almost like a carbon copy of what you've seen. Seems to be that we're in that pattern, both with the Antarctic Oscillation, what the MJO keeps continuing to do, and this La Nina that gives us this picture painted forward. Now, here is the failure point. If the MJO breaks out and gets into the Pacific or gets into the Indian Ocean, this will modify this pattern. If the AAO dips into negative territory, which it could do, we can only usually forecast the Antarctic Oscillation out about 10 days, then that would bring in more precipitation into this area. But the La Nina is the mainstay of this pattern, and that's why we continue to see this as the forecast. I'll keep watching it. Report back to you again on Thursday, okay? Have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you.